Thursday night football, Commanders Eagles. That's a good one. We'll go around the horn on paths to victory. LeBron messing around, getting a third straight triple-double. Only thing that wasn't an NBA Cup game, which he dreamed of playing when he was a kid. And Caitlin Clark golf. Oh my goodness. I'm not standing anywhere near a non-pro teeing off at a pro-am. But like the lethal shooter she is, I understand it now. Send her the next one. Let's go around the horn. I understand it now. That's how I'm going to take every discussion when I give out the points. I understand it now. Thursday night football, a great one, I say again. Washington, Philadelphia, 7-3 versus 7-2. How great? Biggest Washington-Philly game in 3 decades. Dan Gelston, AP writes. That's Randall Cunningham, Seth Joyner, Art Monk, Darryl Green days. Commanders off the narrow loss to Pittsburgh on a short week. Philly, kind of sneaky with that 5-game win streak, dating back to Sirianni and the Fan, that game versus Cleveland. Bill Barnwell, around the horn to you on the team you'd rather be tonight.
It's the Commanders, right? They're playing with house money. Nobody expected them to be 7-3 at this point in the season. The Eagles, this was the exact point last year where things started to go south. Big Dom got kicked off the sideline, and it went spectacularly south. I don't think that's going to happen this year because they have made upgrades on the defense. That has been what's kept them going during this 5-game win streak. At the same time, look at who they've played. Joe Burrow, who is a very good quarterback, but Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, and Cooper Rush. Not exactly the superstars of the NFL quarterback game right now. They have forced 10 turnovers over the last 3 games. They are facing the offense, though, in the Commanders that has turned the ball over just 4 times all season. Incredible for a rookie. So that is the difference. That's where I think this game is going to be decided. Can the Eagles force takeaways from this offense that has been so good at avoiding them all season?
So you'd rather be Washington going into tonight. Kevin Clark, same question to you around the horn.
Bill Barnwell, this is not about expectations. It's about roster talent. That's what this question is about. We have lower expectations in Washington. Pressure is a privilege. This Philadelphia team is further along in their life cycle. That's why tonight, I'd rather be the Eagles. Maybe in 3 years, 2 years, I'd rather have Jaden Daniels and be the Commanders. But for tonight, this matchup, first of all, it's got real game of the year potential, but it favors Philadelphia. A.J. Brown is one of the best man coverage wide receivers in football. Washington is top 10 in running man defense this year. Jaden Daniels, amazing on 10-plus yard air yard throws. Meanwhile, Philadelphia is top 3 in stopping that. So this is a matchup that favors Philadelphia. Right. I'm going with them tonight.
Going heavy into the stats on the back end, but the answer is Philadelphia for Clark. Woody Page, who'd you rather be going into tonight?
Well, I'd rather not be Bill Byrne bad because he's supposed to be the NFL expert. And the first time I've been on the show with him, and that's what you come with, Bill? You talking about house money? They're going to give all the money back to the house. I'd much rather be the Eagles than the Commanders. What a bad pick that was.
All right.
I'll give you a fun football fact, Mr. NFL expert. A.J. Brown, when he plays, and he is going to play, the team is 6-0. When he plays, they average more than 30 points a game. When he doesn't play, they average less than 20 points a game. So give me the Eagles tonight. We watched the quarterback and the running back last week just tear apart the Cowboys. And you don't think they can do that against the Commanders? And they got still one of the best defenses. They brought in Vic Fangio. People run his defense all over the league. And, oh, yes, absolutely. If that wasn't clear, Tony,
everything was clear. It was clear when you explained stats to Bill Barnwell. You may not know what you were walking into, but first we go to Clinton Yates. Who'd you rather be tonight?
The reason I'd rather be the Eagles, Tony, is because I think the Eagles are a more advanced form of what the Commanders are trying to be. You look at that backfield in terms of what the quarterback and the running back do in Philadelphia. That's precisely what Washington is trying to get to. And the reason why they couldn't beat the Steelers last week is because they were not there yet. Also, Philly's playing this game at home, which doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but in a division, that matters in terms of what your advantage is in that game. Now, more largely, though, what's happening with these two teams in terms of their tracks, who Washington is, who Philly is closer to the mark right now, and that's fine. But if Washington wins this game, I don't think it's a huge surprise. It's just an indication that maybe, just maybe, they truly are ahead of the curve and where they want to be, and this isn't just a blip on the radar. And
Okay, so
this is a huge game tonight, in my opinion.
statement game, it seems like, from Yates. Bill Barnwell,
Yes.
after the horn to you.
Yeah, Woody Page said
Why?
the Eagles dominated the Cowboys last week. Why can't they do that to the Commanders? The Commanders are a better team than the Dallas Cowboys. We've seen this entire season of football. I don't think that's anything crazy. Also, their quarterback is probably going to throw for more than 40 yards in this game, which the Cowboys did not do last week.
Okay, Woody is no way frightened by what
Not
Bill
impressed.
Barnwell's cooking up over there. Okay. Never change, Woody. Never change. We've been horned. We'll move on. Our next story, I want to get your take on what Deion Sanders said on FS1 Speak here.
Will you step in and do some of that if it's the wrong organization and say he ain't going there?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna do it publicly. I'll do it privately.
Yeah. Okay.
So you said you gonna
I
be
won't do it
dad.
publicly.
You gonna be dad. You gonna be dad.
Oh, Dad, cows come home. Yes, sir. And with Travis as well.
Talking.
He can try. If it was possible to determine your destination, Caleb Williams would not be getting sacked more than any other quarterback in football in Chicago right now. I think maybe it can be tried. You know, Jordan Reed, our colleague, has Shedeur going number 1 to Cleveland and Travis Hunter going number 2 to New England. Cleveland's a really bad place for quarterbacks. So yes, if my son Teddy Clark were about to be drafted as a quarterback to the Cleveland Browns, I would move heaven and earth to make sure he did not go there. However, I think it's a different world than when John Elway did it 40 years ago.
That's
With
what I
Eli
wanted.
Manning was a
Okay.
different situation because, frankly, Phillip Rivers was in that draft, Ben Roethlisberger was in that draft. There were other options. I don't know how this is going to shake out. I understand the need to try. Geography is destiny for quarterbacks. I understand the need to try to control the process. I just don't know if a team is going to listen to Deion Sanders in that spot.
Woody Page, do you believe it's within the realm of possibility Deion could affect who drafts Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter?
Absolutely. Kevin's forgotten. We're living in a brave new world now, and the athletes have a lot more power, and even their fathers. And you brought up John Elway and Eli Manning, and their fathers were really responsible for them not ending up in the places they were drafted by, Baltimore and San Diego. And I see it happening. And it wouldn't be a first for Deion. He actually kind of controlled where he played when he was a player in the NFL. He went to one franchise and they said, we want you to take one of these mental tests. And he went, I'm out of here. I'm not taking your test. I took them in college. And so I don't think there's a realm of possibility that he won't do it because he has maintained. This isn't the first time he said that. He told us this months ago. He said, I don't want him to play in certain places. He wants warm weather or Dome Stadium. He wants a team that's got a winner, and he wants a quarterback coach that can work with his son like he has been. So, yes, it's going to happen. So you better, if you are a team like, say, the New York Jets, you better just back off because you're not
Well,
going to
that's like a quarter of the league right now. You might rule out. Does he want a toilet made of gold as well? Clinton Yates, around the horn to you.
That story is actually better than what he tells it. What happened was Deion was forced to take a test, and when he asked when the team was picking, he said, I'll be gone before then, and just walked out of the room, which is hilarious. Anyway, I think what Deion is doing is, in fact, tremendous when we look at what the day of the games are in terms of where we are in general. The NWSL doesn't even have a draft anymore. The idea of player control over this kind of thing is very concerning in terms of like where we think we're going to be overall with football, and Deion knows that. And if you're going to be the kind of team that takes a player that doesn't want to be there and you've got to deal with that guy, that is already not a smart move because of the groundwork that he's laid. I think this is, in fact, genius by Prime because it's not necessarily trying to game the system. He's just saying, hey, y'all don't know what you're doing. I do. I don't want to be a part of it. I tell you all the time, quarterback is the worst coach position in the league. Deion's not going to walk right into a situation in which that is obvious and put his kid in a bad circumstance. This makes all the sense in the
Clinton,
world to me.
there is going to be an NFL draft this year. They're not ruling out the draft in the next whatever. You know, it's going to happen for Sanders and for Hunter.
I think what I'm saying is that the idea in general of, you can determine where you want to go if you've got any kind of social leverage or skill leverage is not that crazy. There was a time when that was looked at as completely insubordinate, completely ridiculous. We are so far beyond that I think that teams are going to understand that in terms of what they're bringing as a product of Team Sanders, if you will, with all two of those guys, as in Hunter and him.
Bill Barnwell, your view of it?
Yeah, this is the Haley's Comet of football, right? Every 21 years, a quarterback has his dad say, I don't think you're going to play there. John Elway in 83, Eli in 2004, Shitter Sanders probably in 2025. We're going to have like Bronze Mahomes in 2046, not going to whatever. The Jets probably are not going to be a team that treats their quarterbacks well at that point. What's interesting about this to me, though, is the Travis Hunter conversation, because we've seen teams with quarterbacks who have wanted to go to a different place where they've been steered to a different location. We have not seen that for wide receivers or cornerbacks. To Clinton's point, we don't think that way about how wide receivers are coached or cornerbacks are coached. No one ever said Andre Johnson should have asked for a trade because he was going to be stuck with bad quarterbacks for the next decade. And so with Travis Hunter, I want to see what does that mean from Deion Sanders' perspective. So you want to lead him to a team that has a great quarterback. So you want to lead him to a team where he's going to be allowed to play both ways. I think that's the more interesting discussion here because it is more unprecedented relative to what we've seen from draft players in
Kevin
history.
Clark last week.
Yeah, the Travis Hunter thing to me is just as important because a team is going to need a plan, a snap count. How are you going to use them? The scheme stuff, that is as important as where Shedeur goes. Travis Hunter needs to be treated like an absolute unicorn, and only a couple teams are capable of doing that.
I mean, we've seen wide receivers affect change after they were drafted to where they're going, but maybe not. Although there was some Matt Schaub erasure, by the way, for the Andre Johnson there, Barnwell. Hey, real quick, Teddy Clark. The rising 2-year-old almost of Teddy Clark. Tell everybody what he calls the game of football right now.
He calls it hut-hut, which I think makes him
I love that.
Qualified to coach about 20 NFL
Well,
teams.
then more from hut-hut in by yourself.
Yeah. She come.
Lakers 128, Grizzlies 123 in a fun yet non-NBA Cup game. LeBron, third straight triple-double. Think about how absurd that sentence is at 39 years of age. 3 straight triple-doubles. 4 on the season, 35 points. Lakers get to 7-4. On the sustainability of that play from LeBron and what we're seeing with the J.J. Redick molded Lakers around the horn to Los Angeles, Clinton Yates.
I'm buying this because this is the best part of the experience right now if you're a Lakers fan. Yes, JJ has that team motivated. Yes, they look like they know what they're doing. But if Anthony Davis can't stay on the court, whether it's an ankle or an eye or whatever it may be, LeBron having tremendous performances night in and night out, we are watching greatness. Do not take it for granted, even if the ceiling on this team isn't super high beyond just, say, the NBA Cup.
Well, you appreciate the showtime of it, but about J.J. Redick getting players to play. We did a story a week ago in a loss to Memphis, calling out the guys who were non-LeBron. How did you see it last night, Clinton?
I loved it. I think J.J. Redick has brought accountability back to this team by stating we know what the standard is. It doesn't necessarily have to be winning everything every night, but you better play like you belong there, and that's been the case.
Woody Page, what to buy or sell with the Lakers?
I'm buying LeBron being the second best valuable player in the league right now, and Anthony Davis has been listed at the top of the MVP players. It's Joker, and then it's LeBron. LeBron is
never too early for some MVP from our MVP. Yes,
9 rebounds. I just think he's playing well, and he's doing it in 35 minutes. It's not that they're forcing him to play 40 minutes.
Kevin Clark, around the horn to you. What to buy, what to sell with the Lakers?
First of all, I'm buying those Vancouver-era jerseys. Those are beautiful. But I don't know. I'm going to withhold judgment on the Lakers, I think. They have an identity. They've won all 6 of their home games. They're 1-4 on the road. They've won every single game when they score over 115 points. But we know what they are. James and Anthony Davis either assisted or scored 30 of the 37 fourth quarter points. We kind of know what they are. I'm not ready to make any broad conclusions against the Grizzlies team in those beautiful jerseys without John Morant.
And Bill Barnwell.
Yeah, J.J. Redick has sort of shifted things just a tiny bit. We didn't really see it last night, but we've seen it over the course of this season, which is he's made Anthony Davis the focal point of this offense for stretches. LeBron's running the lowest usage rate he's ever had as a pro, but he's averaging the second most assists per game he's had in any season as a pro. Anthony Davis was not great last night because of the foul trouble, but he's averaging 30 and 11 so far this year. I think J.J. Redick's biggest improvement so far has been being able to convince LeBron you can maybe take some nights where you're not going to be the focal point for 35 minutes.
Which is interesting. So that would be a note in that usage rate for sustainability, maybe, even though as crazy as that sounds, a 39-year-old can sustain a triple-double pace like this, but play like this. We'll move on. Buy or sell, too. Hut, hut! football. Look ahead to Sunday, Ravens-Steelers. Oh, yeah, first place in the division. Pittsburgh, first divisional game of the year. A stat on Lamar. 1-3 in his career versus Pittsburgh. That he's only started 4 games versus Pittsburgh is shocking, but 1-3. Lamar hinted he couldn't explain it when he said, I can't explain it. Kevin Clark, do you expect this version of Lamar to struggle on Sunday in Pittsburgh?
No, I don't. I can explain it. This is a different version of Lamar. In the 4 previous games, he's had 7 interceptions. Well, guess what? Even though the Steelers' defense is really good, the Ravens have not thrown an interception or had a turnover in 3 straight games. That's one of the highest marks of their franchise history. So for me, this comes down to just a couple of plays. I'm favoring the Steelers here, but it has nothing to do with Lamar Jackson. He's going to play really, really well. George Pickens is the best deep ball receiver in football. The Ravens are giving up explosives at an alarming rate. Russell Wilson can throw these moon balls. He connects on enough to squeak this one out. The last 8 meetings between these two teams have been a 1-score game. It's going to happen again. Steelers squeak it out.
Bill Barnwell?
Yeah, Stu's done a great job of keeping Lamar Jackson in the pocket. He has his design runs. He's going to get those yards. But
lineup, the Eagles have looked like a completely different offensive team compared to the 3 weeks he missed from 2 to 4 due to a hamstring injury. The Eagles are a perfect 6-0 this season with Brown in the lineup, and they're averaging over 30 points per game. Philly has averaged just over 17 points per game in 3 games without Brown. Look at that. You have your best receiver and things work out. But Dan, how exactly is Philly using A.J. Brown in the offense?
They do whatever they want with
Talk
them.
to him, Dan.
Route-wise. I mean, if you line them up in one-on-one, it's a simple thought process. They're going to run 3 or 4 different routes. I don't think you can stop them. One, they'll kind of cut a split down to a reduced angle, and they'll create some space to the sideline. And more often than not, he's going to run an out route. And if you leave him in one-on-one with soft coverage, Jalen Hurts no alignment. And if you're going to play him one-on-one with soft coverage, he's going to route you up at the top, and he's going to stutter, and he's either going to go or run an in route. And when you get him on those in routes, Calvin Johnson always did this. He never catches the ball and goes vertical. He always catches the ball and runs away, sideline to sideline. And again, if you play him one-on-one, no matter press or off, they are going to take their shot. It's the same stem off the ball, stutter his feet. And I've said this. We have praised Russell Wilson for how he has thrown the deep ball. Jalen Hurts has thrown the deep ball just as well. The ball placement has been absolutely premier this season. I'll be fascinated to watch. If Washington plays him one-on-one, they're going to throw him those 3 routes tonight, and they're going to complete all of them.
A.J. Brown made him go on a hunger strike if they would have put him in man-to-man one more damn time. And so now you look at this year.
Not Gandhi.
Now you look at him this year.
Gandhi.
When A.J. Brown is on the field, when he gets matched up in one-on-one, they don't care if it's 4th down, 1st down, 2nd down, or 3rd down. They give him an opportunity to catch the deep ball if you press him. He finds ways to catch the football and break tackles and get yards after the catch. So if you're going to leave St. Juice or Sanistril locked up on him one by one, you better believe he's going to get the rock. And Mina talked about this on the group chat last week. If you show single high to Russell Wilson, he will kill you. Well, you show it to Jalen Hurts, he will rebury you because Russell Wilson buried you last week. So you better find another way to cover A.J. Brown, because if you don't, you are in trouble.
Please don't put Samer still on.
They gonna dig him up and bury him again?
Yeah.
Oh, the
They
dig
gonna
up
dig him
and
up and bury him
rebury.
again?
He said
I
it's
know.
Bad news.
And Samer Still's played
Golly.
so well, but coverage these days. And watching them, you guys, it really feels a lot like 2022, where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
If you play single high, they'll kill you outside. If you sit back, they're going to run the ball, and Saquon is going to eat underneath. If I'm Washington, I take the latter. And I don't love it, obviously. It's not, the run defense isn't exceptional either. But playing man coverage or one-on-one against A.J. Brown right now is basically a death wish. So I would actually rather particularly you want Jalen Hurts to carry the football more often than not.
Yep, no doubt. Y'all, listen, this is very, very simple because y'all all covered it. For me, you got to pick your poison. We talked about that a few weeks ago. Saquon Barkley is back there as well. I know we just got off this waxing poetic about A.J. Brown. Guess who leading the league in rushing behind Derrick Henry? It's Saquon Barkley. I'm pressuring Jalen Hurts. And I know it's scary. Yeah. It's a scary proposition. You have to try to create some havoc in the backfield, whether that's against the run or whether that's with Jalen Hurts potentially holding the ball if you got good enough coverage. But if you allow them to be multidimensional, it's a wrap, and they are back to owning people from the offensive side of the ball.
But yeah, burying them, digging them up, putting them back down there again. All right, let's pick this
Don't
game.
dig them up again.
What are you guys going to do on this game? Because, oh, look at me. I'm saving the day. I'm picking the Commanders. You guys are all on the Eagles. Listen, I don't know. I kind of think the Eagles are going to win, but
It's okay.
I'm going to stand on it. I'm picking the Commanders.